We're back out on the bass buggy, and today we're talking about how to turn a terrible day on the water into a great day on the water and catch more fish. Stay with us, you don't want to miss this one. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and today we're talking about those days on the water we've all had. Nothing seems to go right. Whether the fish just aren't cooperating, your gear isn't cooperating, or some other factor is just keeping you from enjoying your time on the water. This can be very, very frustrating because for a lot of us, we only get so much time on the water. You work all week and you get that one chance to go out fishing, and then you don't even get to enjoy it and you end up becoming frustrated and angry. Well, what can we do about that? Well, let me tell you a little story about something that happened to me recently. My wife and I had planned a trip, and we had it planned for several months. It was to a new body of water that we were both looking forward to fishing. Now, along with all the planning we had to do, all the things that we had to set aside to make this trip happen, when the day finally came and we were able to pack our things up, put the boat on the back of the truck, and head off to the lake, we were both very excited. We left early in the morning and traveled for a couple hours just to get to this new body of water. However, things started to go awry almost as soon as we got there. Now, to say that the road going to the boat dock was rough would have been an understatement. It was barely more than two muddy ruts that led out to the lake. And then once you got out to the water, I had more room in the left turn lane on the highway getting into the place than I did to turn my boat around and back it into the water at the boat ramp. And then trying to go over all those ruts and then trying to go through all that mud just to get to the boat ramp and back my boat in straight was a lesson in frustration. So I was already getting pretty aggravated and I hadn't even got my boat in the water yet. And then, whenever we finally were able to get on the water, nothing seemed to go right. From the very beginning, it seemed like the deck was stacked against us. And considering everything we had to put to the side to make this trip happen, it wasn't turning out to be a very good experience. The sun was rising in the sky, bluebird sky, and it was hot and muggy. It was in the 90s with 150 million% humidity. Anybody who's been in South Mississippi will know exactly what I mean. It is humid, humid, humid here. And you just sweat, and it just sticks to you, and it's very muggy, especially if there's no breeze. And there was no breeze out on the water. So we're already hot and miserable, and it's barely 7 o'clock in the morning. And then we're finally able to start fishing. But the fish aren't biting. And the only thing I seem to be good at is fighting my gear, backlashing to the point of having to re-spool a reel that I just spooled up the night before, and then losing bait after bait after bait on unseen snags that for some reason were not showing up on my down imaging and side imaging. I don't know where they came from, but they were certainly there. I lost several baits, and we hadn't even been there half an hour yet. So already we were extremely frustrated. This is gonna be a big old mess here for no, don't do that. Golly. Get out of there. There we go, that's much better. I can work it much better that way. Oh! Ah, he broke me off! Oh, that was a good one, and he broke me off. Did you see that? As soon as he hit it, he broke me off. Goodness gracious. He broke me off. Dadgummit.
So you're having some luck today.
Yeah, I am. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get much worse, tragedy struck. I went to go change baits out, and I noticed I had left my tackle box out in the sun. Now, I don't know if you've known what a lipless crankbait's supposed to look like, but this is not it. It's all bloated and warped, all messed up because they've been sitting out in the back of my boat in their plastic case, uncovered, and it had gotten hot in there. Now, you remember back in the old days when you'd go to the video rental store and they would tell you not to leave the VCR tape on the dash in the sun? There's a reason for that. So every bait in that box, which some of you might remember as that box has made an appearance on this channel before, you can see that right here, but virtually all of those baits in that box, hundreds of dollars worth of baits that I accumulated over years, all of them were ruined. one of my favorite jerk baits. Now, looks like this. Bent, warped, and completely unfishable. This Sixth Sense Quake crankbait is another one that suffered it. Totally destroyed. Absolutely unfishable. This 5XD might look fine, but it has split. It has split. It has expanded and separated. I tried to fish it, but it doesn't swim right. None of these baits swim right. I tried to fish several of them, and if they don't just come at me straight like a stick, they twist in crazy ways, and they just... Now, you want erratic, but you don't want that erratic. So that was another thing that I had to add to the list. And by this time, I was extremely frustrated. It's going to take some serious time and effort to restock on those baits. And fortunately, I've started to, and I've been able to replace some of them. At least now when I tell my wife I need to buy more baits, I'm telling the truth this time. We were both very frustrated by this point and debating just pulling up a tent and heading on out and calling it a wash. But we talked about it. We said, okay, we put all this money into it, all this time we put into it. Let's see it out. Maybe we can change the day. And all it took was for me to change my focus. I went from focusing on all the bad things that were happening and focusing on how everything was going wrong to settling down and doing what I know how to do. I assessed the situation. I looked at what was going around on the lake. I looked at the environment, and I picked the appropriate lures based on what I saw. And within a few casts, I hooked into this little spot. And that changed everything. Okay, that's enough of that. Yeah, there's definitely a nicer mix of bass in this lake than anything else. Right in the thumb. Nicer mix of bass in this lake than anything else I've fished. That's a nice fish right there. Is it square?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a beautiful fish right there. Okay. Let him go. Now, it wasn't a very big fish, as you can see, but that little spot sure did change my day. It gave me hope and it gave me confidence. So that even earlier in the day, when I lost this tank... There we are. There we are. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Oh, it is good. It is good. It is good. It's real good. Come on, buddy, stay pegged. Oh, he spit me right at the top. And then when I lost the very next fish on the very next cast, I was frustrated, but I was able to keep a level head. And then, out of the blue, it happened. I hooked into the biggest fish of the day, the biggest fish I've caught all year, and it put up one huge fight. Oh yeah, come on, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. He's pulling us to him. Stay down. Oh, that's a nice one, hon. See if I can work him over here to the net. Oh, where you going, big boy? Come on. Ooh. Look at the size of this monster. There's no way in heck I'm boat flipping him. I got you, big boy. This, my dear, is a 6-pound bass. Damn. Or bigger. I barely. Oh my gosh. That is a 6-pound bass. I'm gonna put you back in the water, big boy, as we drift in closer. There you go. And as you can see, that beautiful 6+ pound bass was worth everything. At least to me it was. The point of all this being, when we get mad and we get frustrated, our fishing suffers. The best thing that any of us can do is take a deep breath, think about what it is we're out there trying to do, and focus on that. When we become frustrated, we're not focused on fishing. We're not focused on finding the fish. The only thing we're focused on is how frustrated we are. We need to get past that mindset, because no one ever caught a limit when they were mad. At least not to my experience. Basically, wipe the slate clean, calm yourself down, and take a good hard look at your surroundings and fish what you know, how you know. And I guarantee you will have much greater success. So there you have it. Fishing doesn't need to be an arduous chore. If you're not in the right mindset, it will certainly affect your fishing. So, I suggest take a deep breath, relax, reassess your situation and your surroundings. And if you have to start from scratch, start from scratch. But at the end of the day, you will catch more fish and you will have a more productive time on the water. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.